Morning, Jay.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks. Is Leon Draisaitl an available player for you tonight?
I think that's a great word for it. He is an available player for us tonight.
So obviously, if he's good to go, and sounds like he is, just how do you think you guys made out without him? But how big a difference is it when he's there?
Well, I mean, he's a former Hart Trophy winner, special player, somebody who brings a lot to the game and brings a lot to the team. How do I think we made out without him? I thought we played 2 hard games, and you know, obviously we found a way in Seattle, and we didn't get any points in the Winnipeg game, but there was lots of good in it for us.
You guys have given up 5 goals since Christmas in 3 games.
Yep.
Like you're keeping it out of your net a little bit better.
Yep.
What do you think are the things that are resulting in that? What's causing a better defensive club here?
You know, I think we've been hammering on some details to our game that, you know, I think we mentioned it, how the league kind of tightens up at different intervals. We're in the post-Christmas phase, Christmas to the All-Star break, and I think the teams that are going to make moves in terms of, you know, trying to work their way up the standings are the ones that have a conscience about them on the defensive side of the puck. We believe we can score enough. We know that. We have some special people, but for us, we think where our confidence comes from, where our success lies in how well and how hard we're prepared to defend. So post-Christmas, it's been positive to see those type of numbers, but it's something that's you have to commit to every day. It's not something that you just do intermittently.
Right, so you've been a consistent road team. Your game has been relatively consistent away from here.
Yep.
The exact opposite here in Edmonton. It's kind of been up and down. Does changing that fall under this post-Christmas renewed focus?
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, certainly in the last 4 games or so, you know, we feel that we should be walking out of there with more points than we've had. And so it's been a focal point. It's something that we talk about as a group. I think everybody's aware and alert to that fact. The bottom line is that we think we can play better in front of our home fans and find ways to win games. I thought that game against Winnipeg, you know what, we played a hard game under tough circumstances. I didn't think we gave up very much, but what we did give up ended up in the back of our net. That's an understanding of making sure to make every single possession count.
Something else that kind of coincides with this defensive tightening is Ryan McLeod's return to the lineup.
Yep.
What have you seen from him so far in kind of playing that 3rd, 4th line center role?
Yeah, and I would say it's not just Ryan coming back. I think it's a return to health and slotting people in the correct batting order, so to speak. For Ryan specifically, you know, I think, you know, he's a great skater. He transports pucks. He can play in any situation, penalty kill, power play, 5-on-5. I think he's returned to our team, but I don't think we've seen the best of Ryan McLeod yet. I think there's more there. And certainly as a coaching staff, we have high expectations for him given our history together. And I think high expectations are the best compliment any coach could give a player.
We focused on your game tonight, but did you have a chance to see what happened with Team Canada and McLeod's performance, just the kind of magnitude of that goal on that stage? What do you think? Yeah, as a Canadian, I'm super excited for our country and obviously hosting the event in Atlantic, Canada. You know, it's important that our team does well, and for that young player to rise to the occasion the way he has, I think it's you know, it's pretty special. And you know, they're going to be up against a real good opponent here in the semifinals, and I think they're just looking to build their game as that tournament moves on. But sitting back and watching as a fan, I'm proud of the next generation of players that our country is producing.
There's occasions when sometimes, you know, sports gives you a pause, and last night in the NFL that happened with the injury to that player. I just want to ask you about, as a coach of a team, and how do you kind of feel about, because these guys are putting their lives on the line. There's that risk of something happening. I guess just wanted to get your thought on what happened last night in that football game.
Yeah, that's another thing that I paid attention to, obviously, last night. First and foremost, our thoughts are with Demar and, his family, the Buffalo Bills, the city of Buffalo, as everybody's, praying for his safe return to health. For me, Ken Holland and I actually experienced something together in 2005 when Yuri Fisher had, it was a different type of episode, but it was an episode on the bench for the Red Wings. And, it was touch and go for a little bit, but Yuri came through it, and that's what we're hoping for Demar. As a coach, you want to make sure your people are safe. That's first and foremost. And I think something like what happened last night puts things in perspective. And I'll go back to how I started. The Edmonton Oilers, the coaches and players for the Edmonton Oilers are keeping Demar in our thoughts and praying for a full recovery.
Jay, just to follow up on that a bit, after it happened, what did the organization do at that time, just to get the players, you want to go back out there, and I know that his situation was different, I understand it, but still, players see something like that, it could be traumatic. Do you remember kind of how you got through it as an organization?
Yeah, it was an interesting thing because immediately the game was halted. The players and coaches came into the dressing room, and it was determined that game wasn't going to be played that night. And it was interesting because it was versus Nashville. Nashville was up 1-0. It was about halfway through the first period. And what ended up happening from the league standpoint was that the game got rescheduled, and I believe at the time, it was the only NHL game to start as a full game with one team up 1-0. So that got rescheduled from the league side of things. From the team side of things, I think the first thing was to make sure that he was okay. The next day there were protocols on who could visit and everything like that, and they didn't want to overwhelm him. But everybody visited. He returned to health. Unfortunately for Yuri, it meant he couldn't play anymore, but he's turned himself into quite the hockey executive, and he's a big part of that organization, and most importantly, he's been healthy.
Just quickly back to your team. Noticed Vander Kane out there today, and he's taken part in lots of different things and shooting the puck. I just wonder, what's your understanding of his timeline? Is he ahead of time here? Or when's he?
Well, he told me from day one he's a quick healer. That's what he said. And, if you looked at his arm, you could barely tell anything occurred to it. I think it's just a matter of letting things heal from the inside, just given the nature of that injury. But I think it's a real positive sign. You'll see him more and more with the team here, and we're just taking it one day at a time. It's not day-to-day. He's still in the week-to-week category. But he'll start ramping up his on-ice participation with the full group as we move forward.
Thanks.
Good, thanks, guys.